on the bench today by the same customer. Customer had 3 Marantz, and he brought every single one of them on my bench. Anyways, this one here, he's saying it's working perfectly. He wants it serviced. He wants the lamps changed for sure. The lights are really not that bright on it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a full 360 on this. I'll fully service this, and we'll make a video out of this. So if you happen to have a 2230 at home that's still working perfectly and you'd like to have it serviced, you might be able to do it yourself. It's not that hard. On this video, I'll check the DC voltage, I'll check the bias, the power supply. I'm able to set the voltage on the power supply, so we'll check if the voltage is correct. So what we're going to do is we're going to print out a service manual, and we'll go from there, and we'll see what we can find. Probably an interesting project. What do you think? I'm going to do it right now. DC voltage is pretty good. This one's good as well. Yes, there's no DC voltage on this, so we're good to go. Anyways, what I'm going to do is I'm going to shut the power off, and we're going to open this up. There we go. It's well proportioned. Each circuit board has its own little place. There's a transformer. There's my 2 filter capacitors. They are 6800 at, what is it, 40 volts? At 40 volts. Now, turn some power on. We'll check some voltage on this. Here are the relay kicking in. And we'll go to DC voltage. 30.6. 30.6. So my outputs are giving me 30.6. I'm not sure what I'm supposed to have for voltage, but we are going to check that as we move along here. Okay, so we'll shut the power off on this, seeing that the output transistors are really working well. I'm going to take the bottom plate out. We exposed the circuit boards. Now we'll be able to check some voltage. And we'll check some soldering as well as we continue on. This is my power supply here, and my filter capacitors are here. Some of these are pretty old capacitors. This is a 72 to 74. We're talking 40, almost 50 years probably. So some of these capacitors probably need to be checked for sure. I can't. First of all, I'll check if I have any voltage on my filter capacitors. .5 volts, so it's pretty good. Safe now to continue on. As far as my filter capacitors are showing good. That's perfect. You can't get any better than that. Okay, I'm going to go into my power supply now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 of these capacitors I will check. Here's one of the big ones. That's good. There's the next one. That one there is also good. That's good, so those 3 there. And the other 2 are right here. That's good. And that's perfect. None of these caps are giving me an issue. Okay, I will give the benefit of the doubts. There are some orange caps on this, on the amp board, that I think may need to be changed. I'm not sure if I can check some right now. Just remember, I have no power here, right? Here's an orange one that I'm checking on the amp. Oh, it's not bad at all. This one's good too. Here's another big one. That one there is perfect. And these ones here, there's a big possibility that they're high ESR. Still probably operational, but they don't look the very best. This one here was okay. These 2 were okay. These ones, and there was this one here, and this one. I wasn't able to get this one in the back, which I'm gonna. This one right here, I'm going to try to get from the back. I am going to take the power amp board out of there because there's 2 capacitors. Take a look at that. This is, I know this is a 3.325. I don't think this is any good. We'll try it. It's completely open. When I'm touching it, it's completely open. So we're going to make sure that we clean that out a little bit. And believe it or not, these little capacitors, a lot of people may think that they're not much use, but they are. They were there for a reason, right? You know, 40 years ago, they were there for a reason. So to me, means that it should be changed. I'm just putting this as a wedge for me to access. There's the other orange one. You probably can't see it, but I'll take it out of there. This one is not as bad. Well, this was when this one was still reading anyway. Not by a lot, but it had 2 ohm resistor on it. This one, completely done. So we'll change those two. So I'll replace those 2 caps. This power amp is going to thank me for it. Okay, so we have to make sure that we have polarization. Told you guys. The longer leg is the positive, the shorter leg is always the negative, and I've got the negative bar right here. So we always have to make sure we have the right value, the right polarization, and it's going back in. Okay, I'll flip this around and show you guys what I've just noticed. This is where the 3.3 microfarad was. That was open. You can actually see it. It's really crummy around there, so I'll have to clean that out a little bit. The other one was back here. See, notice how clean this one was. This one was still reading okay. High ESR a bit, but this one here was open. And I did check this big cap here. This big cap here is testing good. Well, I'll just clean this out a little bit. There's a little bit of rust here. Something probably was dropped here or something. Just to show you guys that this is a diode right there. It has to be still good because my amp is actually running okay. But look at this. Look at this resistor here. There was a lot of rust around here, and you can tell actually on this diode that we're having an issue here. I think I'm going to recheck this capacitor. It was pretty close to where it's all rusted, and I may have to change this resistor as well. You can tell it's cracked. There's a crack there. Okay, so we'll get to work. And I'm going to check this resistor back here. The resistor is still good, but it's reading 5K ohm. And this diode, I know is still good because my amp is still, there it is. My diode is still good as well. It is kind of rusty, but I'm going to recheck this capacitor there. It wouldn't hurt by changing that. Probably not, eh? Just a small little cap, and just by curiosity, I'll check it again. still good. It was still showing me, you know, less than an ohm. But I'm gonna replace it anyway. This is the cap there, right here. I may still read something out of it, but I may be reading something else too, because it is in circuit, right? Could be a big surprise when I take it out of there. Oh, this is the guy here. 35 volt, 10 microfarad. Ten microfarad. Let's see what it's reading. 12.8. ESR is 1.2. It was still reading okay. It's off value a little bit. Volume loss was 2.8. It's going to do a world of good to change this to a brand new cap. So I don't have an issue with this. 10 microfarad polarization is very important. I'll do the 3.3 microfarad. Now, I made sure the polarization was well. And I do notice that I had to clean the holes off of this. There we go. They're back in place. Those three caps are back. The rest of these caps are all good. So now we'll have to flip this back over. Yeah, there was a lot of flipping around, but oh, it's stuck there. Okay. Okay. And double check your work. This board is attached. Put this board back on, change 3 capacitors. I just want to see if it's going to turn on. Always check your work. If I'm done with this, see if it's working. Because if you continue on, then you're not going to know, okay, where was I? Okay, so here we go. Plug it in. 114 volts relay just clicked in. Everything is running like it should. Okay, we're at the bias setting for this Marantz 2230B. I did a research yesterday on this Marantz. Well, and according to this the service manual online, it was pin 712 and 718. I should be getting 20 millivolts. That's where I would set my millivolts. But this is for, the service manual is for the 2230. And I have the 2230B, which is not these pins at all. Instead of those 712 and 718, I need to go to pin 714 and 716, which are these ones right here, and I'll show you that in a minute. Okay, so just be careful. I just wanted you to be aware that be careful, because this only talks about the 2230. But if you have the 22B, those are not the pins at all. You would get voltage out of those pins, and I need millivolts on this. So here we go. We're going to try, and I'll show you something as well if you're not really that sure. I'll do an experimental here. Just want to make sure that you guys can see that. Yeah, I've got it set to millivolts here. And if I go to pin 714 and 716, which is this one right here, I'm getting 0.1 millivolts. Okay, and the very same thing on this side. This one is a little lower for my doing, because yesterday when I cut out this video, I was going by these pins here and I was getting voltage. If I go to pin 712 and 718, I'm getting voltage, and that is not correct. That's 35 volts. There's no way I can set my bias this way. Your bias has to be in millivolts, not in voltage. Okay, so I had to just, I left it there yesterday because I wasn't sure what I was going to do, but then it's always nice to refresh. The next day comes in and you get fresh mind. And I go back to look at the schematic, and the schematic was for the 2230, but I have a 2230B, so that's why I was getting voltage. But if I go to these pins here, which I've marked it down, and the way that I found this was through the schematic. But anyways, I'm going to set this millivolts. This has been running for a while now. I'll put the alligator clips on. Okay, so pin 14 and pin 714 and 716. So these are set. I have to flip this around. Because my trimmer pot is on this side. So that's all I have to do. So I'm gonna try to adjust this. Are you guys seeing this? Yes. Not quite, eh? Put this here. And there you go. This is the trim pot right here. I'm gonna bring this up to 20 millivolts, and that's what they're asking for. There's probably 20.34. May go up because it's still settling in. I haven't had this on for that long, but we'll see how that goes. We'll let it sit for a little bit. There's 20. The schematic here is for the 2230, but I have the 2230B, and the pinouts is different. That's all. That's why I had it set. I was playing with that yesterday, and when I noticed that I had voltage where they wanted me to be. But anyway, this is a 20, still going up to 20.5. But I'll try the other side. And on this side, I need to go to pin 15. Pin 15 and pin 17, 717. There we go. Let's try that. And this one is a bit high. It's at 46. We need to bring this down to 20. So it's this trimmer pot right here. So we'll just go back and forth for a little bit and see. This one is at 20.7. See if it's going down a bit. Or if it's going up. If it's going up, I'll bring it down, but if it's going down, I'll leave it there. Okay, we've got this one set to 20.5 millivolts, and my pinout is on the other side, so you can't really see it, but when I turn this around, we'll check the other side as well. 2230B. Okay. What you see on the screen is for the 2230, and the pinouts are different. So you just have to be careful. If you go on these pins on the 2230B, you're going to get voltage about 35 volts. So the pinout is not correct. So for this channel, I'm getting 20.3 millivolts. That is absolutely perfect. And now I will recheck this side. Pin 14, sorry. Pin 14 and 16, which is this one. There we go. And this one is at 20.5, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not even going to touch this anymore. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. So the bias is set to 20 millivolts on both channels, which is perfect. The other way to check this pin and this pin is 20 millivolts, but you can also put it, you can also check it on the emitter resistor as well, which is going to be the very same. Okay, 19.8. Let's see, this one is moving, is it? So, just about the same. So the emitter resistor is just as good as these pinouts. Pinouts are a little easier to get if you can find them. But right now, we're set to 20 millivolts, and we're going to leave it at that. I'm going to be checking my DC voltage. See what we're getting. That's the other adjustment. Okay, so we'll do this one and this one, and this is millivolts. That's pretty damn good, eh? Anything below 20 millivolts is really great with this, and this is perfectly. I don't even have to touch anything. And if you did, set your DC offset with these pods right here. Okay, I'll check the other side. And this one is also perfect. So that is working perfect. Okay. Just gonna check. This is the phono amp right here. This one right here, and I was gonna check some voltage. P400 right here, phono amplifier. I don't know if you guys can see this. And at pinout J404, I should have 35 volt. Pin J404, there's pin 404 right here. Should have 35 volts, and I do. I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, so the phono board is right here. There's a few capacitors on that I would like to check. This is the phono board here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 capacitors that I will check on the phono board. Okay, so we'll start off with the 2 orange ones right here. They're testing good. There's 2 in the center, and these are the ones right here. That's perfectly good capacitors. And big one right there. I don't suspect it's gonna be bad. And that's good as well. So all the capacitor on the phono board is perfect. I don't have to worry about that. So I'm pretty happy with everything that's on here now. We've done the bias setting. We've done the DC offset. Power supply board. I wanted 35 volts, and I did get 35 volts at the end, so I'm all good with that. Now the next thing to do is to change these lamps right here. So there's 2 lamps here, and I think there's 4 on this one that he wants me to change. He's saying that they don't light up. The end ones are kind of weak. Yeah, they're kind of a weak lights on here. There you go. So we'll go ahead and change these. Okay. Make sure that this is unplugged. So we'll start off with a couple of screws. There, one. This easy, eh? There, this 2 screws will expose all these lamps. And let's see. This lights up. Look, it should. They're all lit up. Okay, so I've changed, there was 5 lamps in the front here, And for the analogs meters here, there's 2 of them. It was kind of a greenish color, but I've changed it to blue, a light blue. I think it looks a lot better. Now if you've noticed, the dial lamp is out, so I'll have to open this up and see what I can find about this. So we'll shut this off again. I'm going to have to open this up somehow. I can examine this a little more. There, that should work. Something like that. Okay. I'm not sure, I've never opened one of these before, so I have no idea what I'm getting into here, and there it is. This lamp right there. And I'll put this on ohm. No, it's open. Light bulb is open. She is not working anymore. Eight volts. The hardest part for changing a light bulb is to find one, because there's these bulbs are, I mean, there's none left, right? So now that's going to give you your light that you strongly need for this guy right here. Okay, so I'm pretty confident that this is going to look really nice. And let's try it. Look at that. Nice, eh? Well, that light has been changed. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook up my speakers onto this. See what kind of sound I'm getting out of this, and that should be pleasant enough.
Kids, just ask for us by name. Moncton's greatest hits, 103 Max FM.
Everything is done. So we'll shut this off, and we'll give her a go. Give her a good cleaning, and then I'll call the customer. Pretty filthy. when I'm spraying this. You can tell that this is loose inside, so now you can tell that that's kind of loose. We'll tighten that up. I'll tighten all of those actually. I wanted to show you guys after setting the bias and everything that I was supposed to do. Here's the output. The outputs are at 35. Working perfectly. I'm pretty happy with that. But okay. Okay. Got 1,000 hertz on this. So I'll mute it. There we go. I'm getting distortion at 18, so I'm going to bring this back to about there. I've got 16.8 volts per division, 16.8 RMS. Okay, so we'll divide that, multiply that by 2 and divide that by 8, and that should give you your wattage per channel with no distortion. Okay, there it is with the brand new LEDs. It looks really good. It's all blue lights. Looks fantastic. I cleaned it all out. It looks really nice. There, the model, the Marantz model 2230B has been fully serviced. Changed 7 lamps on this. They were all burnt. Every single one of them. Even the dial lamp was burnt. Anyways, the only issues that I had was when you set the bias according to the service manual. The bias setting is for the 2330, and I had the 2230B, so the pinouts are a little different, but I'll mark that down on my site. So it's really not a big deal. If you can't find the pinouts, just do the emitter resistor for each channel, and it's the very same voltage. So you should be able to do that. Anyways, it looks fantastic. The customer is ready to come and pick this up. If you like my video, thumbs up, leave some comments, and please subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate it.